Americans across the globe today are calling for an end to systemic racism and police brutality. One of the biggest movements fighting against these injustices is Black Lives Matter. Joining me now is Patrisse Cullors, co-founder of Black Lives Matter and founder and chair of Reform LA Jails. Thank you for being with me, Patrisse. Let me first say, one of the things that I've seen, and you and I have discussed this before, but not in this particular phase of the movement since the killing of George Floyd, is that we've seen people of different races, of different orientations in terms of their sexuality, and we've seen people of different genders. With two others, the Black Lives Matter slogan, and then built it into some detailed movement, which I want to get to in a minute. But is this not what all of us really have been talking about for a long time? And do you think that we can hold it and make some substantive change happen?
It's so good to be on the show, Rev. It's so good to see you. And I'm very proud of the folks in the streets that have not let up for the last 13 days. I think that what we've seen over the last 7 years, and many can argue over the last 400 years, is a sustained movement to make sure that Black folks get the rights that they've deserved for a very long time. I do believe we're in a very particular moment right now. I think people are interested in changing the system, not just saying Black Lives Matter. I think we're ready to have a conversation about what it looks like to defund the police. We're ready to really have a conversation about what it looks like to end police violence, and that's just powerful.
Now, in an op-ed for Vogue, you outlined many of the things and the goals that you wanted taking the streets right now. You said that African Americans just want their lives to be, quote, affirmed and valued as an integral asset to this country. What are the steps to get to that point?
I think number one, as we're seeing, police violence becomes the pinnacle in which we get to really see the egregious violence against Black people. And so we have to take on the ways in which law enforcement has been able to be rogue and have little accountability in our communities. Much of what we have talked about is defund the police strategy. Some may say, well, what does that really mean? What we're saying is we have to reprioritize where we put our resources. Many of our cities, many of our states, and we can argue this country, has a little access to mental health care. We don't have a good healthcare structure. We don't have access to employment. We don't have access to healthy food. And so this becomes a conversation around where have we put our resources in the last 30 years? And we know that we put our resources primarily into the police and prison state. And so now is an opportunity to reevaluate, has that system worked? In fact, it's not just not worked, it has killed people over and over and over again. So we need to reprioritize. And I'm so grateful to see so many people talking about a conversation that many of us have been trying to talk about for years.
And people across different lines. You know, I tell people all the time, whether it's Black Lives Matter activists, whether it's those that have come out of different civil rights organizations, we're not anti anyone as much as we're pro ourselves. And people of other races have joined in to say, that's right, we have to affirm them. And I think that you have gone out of your way, as well as those that have been leading the movement with you, to say we've got to respect everybody for, like Killer Mike said, for whatever generation they are. You're the only one I've given permission to call me OG in public. I mean, a lot of people call me stuff in private, but I mean, we've been able to relate, even though we may be different generations, different tactics. It's all one struggle.
Absolutely. It's so important that we name that what we've seen over the last 13 days is a multiracial movement led by Black people to change the very relationship Black people have to this country. We say this all the time in our movement. When Black people get free, we'll all get free. And that's such an important marker.
All right, Patrisse Cullors, always great to see you and to talk with you. Thank you for being on tonight. Very important to me. Up next, my conversation with me.